ancient future is now. Welcome to Kim West.
Peace.
Peace.
What's good with you, man?
What's good, God? What's the science, man?
I don't know. We just want to have a friendly discourse, man. You know, I want you to kind of like talk about why you love Africa, man. What brought you to this place in your life, brother?
And then I got the next question. Go ahead, brother.
Peace, Sister One. You say, why did I leave Africa?
No. Why you love Africa, and what brought you to this space in your life?
How did I get in tune with it? How did I connect with Africa?
Yeah.
Oh, well, man, I can't hear you because this phone, I'm on this set. No, you know, I used to deal with a lot of Moorish science bullshit and Hebrewism and all that shit, you know, a lot of stuff. And when I was like 18, I got initiated in Kemetic Moorish masonry. And once I got involved with masonry, I learned a lot of stuff about symbolism, how things are not, you know, it's not what you see, it's symbolism. Then once I learned in masonry that the biggest secret that it's not really a secret, I left that fraternity. I left that fraternity bullshit alone. Right. And I also dealt with Yoruba. I love Yoruba. Yoruba's beautiful. You know, I just didn't agree with sacrificing the animals, but I know that everything have a purpose. Right. So I when I got in Kemet, you know, I hovered around there a little bit because I was dealing with Egyptology and a lot of stuff. I don't want to say Egyptology, that's Greek, but Kemetology or whatever. And once I just stayed in Africa, and I felt good. I felt the blood, you know, and I just stayed there. My ancestors, it felt comfortable. I dealt with a lot of other foreign shit, Buddhism, the Vedic information in India, a lot of just Sufi Islam from Turkey, all that bullshit, and I came in, you know, agreements that, you know, this God that I was learning about was the self, and the way the Kemites explained it, and the way all Africans explained it, this God that man created, which is an idea, was all the self. So I just realized what the self was, and, you know, I stayed in that cipher, in that circle.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's a rewind right there. That's a good rewind.
All right, so you got another question, brother?
Yeah, but go ahead. You said you had the next one.
Now, I wanted to ask you, how does the African spirituality tie into metaphysics?
Well, metaphysics, that's a Greek word, you know what I mean? The thing with metaphysics means beyond physics or beyond seeing, or, you know, it's a lie within the truth, because when you're dealing with metaphysics, truth, like Brother Drew Ali said in the Circle 7, you know, I still use some quotes that a lot of my teachers taught me, even though I'm not a Moor. Truth and falsehood are strangely mixed. So, for instance, with African metaphysics or symbolism, because the natural rules in Kemet are not real. They're symbols. They symbolize different principles of reality. For instance, Osiris being cut up into 14 pieces. The symbols symbolize the 14 days of wane and waxing of the moon. 14 days when the moon is weak, 14 days when the days of the moon when the moon is strong. So metaphysics is like a symbolic language. You got to find the truth within a lie. You see what I'm saying? So we told stories in Africa to make sense out of life. Like all the Orishas in Nigeria, or all the gods or the quantities in the Akan system in Ghana, they're trying to explain how nature works. So they deified and put human images to it to bring humans close to nature. So we told these stories to make sense out of life. These things are nothing but like cosmic principles or cosmic forces. So metaphysics, it's only a symbolic language. That's all it is. It's symbolic. Some people say beyond physics. Some people say beyond seeing. But in truth, the shit is symbolic. Once you go past the lie, you find the truth. It's the principles of everything that we're dealing with. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. Couldn't put it better myself. Interesting. Yeah, y'all just learned something. I like that one. Boy, I needed you last week.
All right. Next question, brother.
No, I'm trying to figure out. Let's deal with the Akkadians. Let's deal with that. Now, I know you have a lot of information on tribes and those names may be introduced to the ecology, to the people. Let's talk about the Acadians. Where they come from?
Well, the Acadian people were early form of Caucasians. You know what I mean? Caucasians are Asians who migrated into the Caucasus Mountains. The Asian word is actually from Mesopotamian people, what the Greeks used to call themselves in the eastern part of Europe, because the people in China, which I don't even want to say China because Genghis Khan, he named China China. But the original people were called Shang, just like the original name for India was called San. When these Europeans, or the early form of Europeans, because we know the Caucasus Mountains is in Turkey. Once these people migrated out of the Caucasus Mountains, which is the first Caucasian is the Arab. That's the barbarian first form of the devil. The Arab is the first type of Caucasian that we encountered. So this Arcadian motherfucker who they talk about is what the Sumerian, which was a group of Ethiopians, called the Tamara. Not the Tamahu that they use in Kemet, or not Tamaray, what they use for the original name of Kemet. But these people lived in mountains, and they made fun of them saying that they ain't had no homes and they were dirty. So these people come back down, and when these Arcadians and all these, you know, these little different types of Caucasians, they had little different qualities to themselves. You know, the Arcadians was actually the first form of Caucasians. You know, they were not Nubian, they were not Ethiopian. These were the first form, another group of you had different groups of Caucasians. Different groups, like the word Arab, if you study it, it means to wander. It's a nomadic group of people. It's not, Arab is not a race of people, it's just a language. Just like Hebrew is a language, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's not a degree or branch of humanity, it's a language. So these nomads, because we know that Arabic derives from the Heretic language in ancient Kemet, because the Kemites spoke 3 dialogues of words. They spoke Meduneter, they spoke the demonic language, and they spoke Heretic. Heretic gave birth to what we know is the Hebrew, which was later on translated to Hebrew, and later on it was translated to this language called Aramaic, and then you got the Aramaic, which diluted into Arabic, and then people in Ethiopia speak something called Amharic, or Amharic, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So these people, these Arcadian people were like an early form of Caucasians. That's all they were. You know, they probably had like a little beige, a beige skin to their tone, you know, but they were still Caucasian. They were still Caucasoids.
Right, okay. How about the Semitic people? Because we got a lot of people trying to make the Semitic people black people or African people.
No, Semitic people were not African. They try to say that shit for the little parable that they call Shem in the Hebrew theology or whatever. But the Semitic people were hybrids. They were beige people. I mean, like when a lot of us look at hieroglyphs, when we see a beige man, we say, oh, he's black. But if a Caucasian, if he get under the sun, he turn that beige color. You know us from them, and you know them from us. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So those people that they talking about, it's Caucasians. They were the early form of Caucasians. So that's all they are. You know, not to say that they wasn't Anglo-Saxon Caucasian, which is pale skin,
right.
But they were Caucasian. You know what I mean?
I got you. Caucasian.
I mean,
got you.
They were Caucasians. That's what they were. They wasn't Anglo-Saxon. You know, the recessive, the lowest quantity of Caucasian, which is the Anglo-Saxon with the pale blue eyes and the blonde-ass hair and the thin nose, but these were still forms of Caucasian. So all of them, you know, the Acadians, the Phoenicians, you know, all these people were Caucasians who were trained by Ethiopian scholars who left out Ethiopia and went all over the world and trained them.
Very interesting, man. Very interesting. Ethiopian scholars. Do you have a name that predate Ethiopia?
You say, do I have the original name for Ethiopia?
Yeah, before Ethiopia. Is it a name?
I mean, Ethiopia is a European word for that land, too. So, in truth, you got a lot of people that say Ethiopia had all types of names. I used to deal with an Ethiopian sister. She was telling me that the original name was something called, she say Punt was Ethiopia, but I don't know if that's true. Some people say Somalia and Punt was Ethiopia. I don't know if that's true, but they had a lot of names for that part of Akibalon or Africa. They had a lot of names for that part. So some people say it was Punt, some people say it was I can't remember the names, but I'm pretty sure it was not one direct name, because in Africa, we were not like the European. The European, he takes over something and names something after a whole continent. You know, he had labeled one group of people that he colonized, he'd say that that's all them, you know what I mean? And in truth, that continent had different names. You had Kemet for the original name of Egypt. You had